Shifting. It's Coach Twilight. And today's message is, ladies, are you walking around with a scarlet letter on your chest? Signs that you are walking around with a scarlet letter on your chest. All right. So if you're not familiar with the 19th century novel of the Scarlet Letter, loosely translated, it was about a young woman who had an affair with a guy. She got pregnant and she was struggling to redeem herself of her shameful behavior because of the judgment and the cruelty that she was receiving in the town that she was in. And she pretty much had to wear a scarlet letter to further embarrass and disconnect her from a life of self-forgiveness. So this was in order to control, shame, and demean this woman. And pretty much throughout the novel, she was dealing with various different levels of cruelty and had to work to reconnect herself to a redeemable righteousness as a woman, although very little was mentioned about the steps that the man had to take in order to redeem himself. So this isn't really about men versus women. This is about societal conditioning on women versus men. So I want to make that clear. Societal conditioning on women versus men. So with that said, women, many of us have fashioned a external veneer where we've gotten accomplishments like we've gotten through college, we've gotten a business, a good job, we are financially stable, we have went through and we have done great things, we're leaders, we're activists, we're moms, we're lawyers, we're doctors, and we're doing amazing things in this world. However, even though we're doing amazing things in this world that should make us feel redeemed, it doesn't, because we are still very much so carrying the vibration of being inadequate because of choices we've either made in the past, things we feel that we don't measure up to in terms of beauty and looks, the constant antagonizing of mainstream media who tells us we need to look a certain way or be a certain way or act a certain way, especially as a melanated woman. The rejection that we may feel from our male counterparts or women, whatever you're into, and as well as just having an overall internal consciousness of low worthiness. Now, if you're listening to this already and you know this is you, cool. I'm going to talk about some steps to make it happen so that you can change the paradigm for yourself. I'm going to speak very candidly and in the raw. I'm going to tell you some things that you may have experienced this, or you know someone else who has experienced this. And in that, we're going to talk about how to bring the esoteric knowledge to the mundane, which is the everyday living life. And that's what I do as a transformational coach. We use higher level knowledge to get through everyday life, because ultimately nobody has the ability, or at least not anyone I know, to sit in a forest, meditate on fucking rocks all day long, sit in the sunlight, and just live life of very menial demands. Many of us, we have jobs to go to, we have children, and we have lives that we have created prior to us uplifting our consciousness and becoming more knowledgeable about how to live in harmony with our vibration and nature. So because we have created certain patterns of behavior, we've created other people that are connected to the certain patterns of behavior, and we have a life that demands certain aspects of us. In order to find balance and harmony with those things that demand certain things of us, we must be able to understand how esoteric knowledge applies to everyday life. So I'm not one of those coaches who are just going to tell you about meditation and thinking positive and all this new age-ism. I'm a spiritualist who are going to instruct you on how to, even though you are living the mundane third density life, how to take that fifth density knowledge and utilize it. So, with that said, dating and relationships tend to suffer if you are vibrationally carrying a scarlet letter on you. Now, women who have this hiding in their awareness tend to upplay the external things that they have going for them. I'm really smart, I got a college degree, I'm financially well off, I'm very, very pretty, I keep myself up nice, I will do what it takes to make you happy in this relationship. And we do this often at the expense of our own fucking happiness. We do this at the expense of our own fucking sense of peace, because we feel as if though we are not truly worthy of a relationship. Now, I know what you're thinking, a lot of you ladies, like, I am worthy, and so on and so forth. Many of us also have created defense mechanisms. And if we could break down those defense mechanisms for long enough, we can get to a point of vulnerability, which is calling into the water element and alchemy, so that we may break apart these patterns of behavior that either push relationships away from us or cause us to go through the dating process carrying such a vibration to whereas we're putting up with things that someone that we project ourselves to be should not be putting up with. For example, why are you a woman who has made it in corporate America, who has moved up the corporate ladder, who's making six figures, who is a self-proclaimed self-made woman, but yet in all you're with someone who does not compliment you, does not add value to you, who treats you as if you are expendable, and that you're someone that they don't even value in their life experience. And you're constantly experiencing this over and over again. Why? Because you may have a scarlet letter hiding in your vibrational crawl space. You see? Because you don't know that you're worthy. And every interaction that you have with your male counterparts convey that. And because it conveys that, they absolutely can see that. They're not blind. And so they're seeing that you're a worthwhile woman, but you don't know your worth. And it's not about checking them or letting them know that they can't do this to you. Sometimes it is, but more so, it is about the energy that you convey. People tend to cross your boundaries or tend to go beyond your boundaries when they know that they can. And when they know that they can, they lose respect for you. They lose the reverence that they have for you. And then now you're in an uphill battle trying to win someone over who isn't even fucking worth your time. Why are you trying to win them over? They don't even have the substance necessary to be a positive contributor in your relationships, but you're so filled with low self-worth and low self-value that you've been through so much rejection with men that you can't see that this is just not something you need to spend your time in. You're spending time being afraid of being alone instead of spending time healing that which will change your life and change your experience in dating. So I'm just going to break it down to you real simple. When you're dealing with dating in the beginning, for the most part, ladies, I'm going to be honest with you, and a lot of guys aren't going to like this. You're really dealing with a very surface level situation. Think of it like this. Even though this may not be the most appropriate or nicest way of saying it, as I said, I'm going to give it to you guys in the raw. When men are generally choosing a mate or someone that they want to deal with, they want to deal with the person that's going to be hassle-free, okay? So they want to deal with the person that's hassle-free, even though in reality, they themselves may contain a lot of baggage. But what I have noticed is women carry their baggage on the surface. So with that said, men are generally choosing from a superficial place in the beginning. They're going through a checklist of what they feel is going to be the woman that they want to invest their time in. So think of it like a bunch of cars. The guy's got 12 cars. He's looking at the different 12 cars and he's making a decision. He's evaluating it based on energy. He's evaluating it based on the engine, the mileage, how fast the car goes, how nice it looks, how much money he's going to have to spend on a monthly basis. Very simplistic things. And so even though you have substance and you are worthy in your unhealed state, you are not hassle-free. I'm going to say that again. You are not hassle-free. So of those 12 options, with most of them 5, of those options, you may be the souped up Ferrari with the chromed out wheels and you're a classic beauty, but the salesman tells him, hey, this one got a lot of problems with their engine, there's a lot of issues, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money on making sure this one, even though it's a beauty on the outside, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money, aka time and energy, making sure that you get the internal parts of this particular vehicle fixed. So fast forward that to a human situation. There may be a situation where they have to say, okay, well, he may have to spend a lot of time validating you because you may not have been validated. He may have to spend time with your children. He may have to spend time learning how to help you love you when you are having struggles loving yourself. And so he considers all of that. And so he's looking for the most hassle-free situation. So instead of choosing you, my beauty, who is worthy still, he's going to choose that Lexus because it still makes him look good. He may have a higher payment, but they say that it gets good mileage and the engine, nothing is wrong with it, and so on and so forth. But later on, he does find that, you know, he has to buy foreign parts, or he has to do a lot of extra stuff, or it wasn't exactly what they said it was. But from appearance alone, batching and collating and very simplistic evaluation measurements, he's not choosing the souped out car with the blown engine, simply because it appears to be more of an investment of time and energy. Now, what's interesting about that is the guy that's making the evaluation is a car too. And so ultimately, later on down the line, you find out he has just as much baggage and just as much shit to work through. But ultimately, in the beginning, because of the way societal conditioning works, he's going to be the one that's going to choose for, quote, his own reasons. But in reality, a lot of times it's a mental conditioning. He wants the most hassle-free situation. So because you may need a little bit more healing than the other one, and you have more to offer later on down the line, he's going to choose what is simplest for him, what seems most hassle-free, what seems to be going to be able to get him from point A to point B, whatever that may be for him at that particular time. So a lot of times when we're dealing in the dating and the relationship phases, in the early phases, women, we are internalizing the rejection that we're getting, not knowing that ultimately we're not dealing with people in most cases who are choosing from a substantiated or a knowledgeable position. We're dealing with guys that's just choosing based on whoever's gonna be the easiest fucking person to deal with right now. You know what I mean? They're not really thinking about anything super long term in the beginning. They have very short term objectives. Oh, I need some companionships. Oh, I need some sex. I need someone who's gonna look good at this party, and someone who's gonna be fun to be with. They're not thinking about someone that they can build and invest with. That's only later on down the line as they mature. Then they're coming back and they're looking for someone they can build and invest. And believe me, I know that women are not cars. I'm just saying from a purely less brain calculating point of view, you're going to have to understand that masculine energy works a lot differently than feminine energy, and men who have not fully embraced and cultivated feminine energy into themselves and their experience, they're going to be short-sighted when it comes to dealing with women. And that's just the way that it is. They're going to look at it from a very simplistic point of view. So moving forward, if the transmission is blown, if the engine is out, more than likely you're still going to be dealing with someone who's willing to build, but just not willing to help you heal. You see? So most of the time, men are not there to help you heal. Some very involved men, a very small percentage, ladies, can help you heal. But most of the time, we're the healers, okay? We're the ones who help people come to the emotional awareness. And when we're blocked up by not knowing and seeing ourselves fully in our divine capabilities, this is what blocks us from being able to make a connection with someone who would be willing to build with us, because we're afraid of the healing work that we have to do, and we're afraid of accepting that. So we keep trying to beautify what's on the outside, when really what we need to do is beautify what's on the inside. So step one, get rid of the fucking embarrassment and shame of the things that happened to you when you were younger that you had no control over. First and foremost, a lot of us women are dealing with things like we have been molested, we have been objectified, we've been rejected, we've been used, we have been through situations where we didn't create this world of superficiality and colonization and all of this shame consciousness that women have on them for not being perfect. Think of the Scarlet Letter, you know? Think of Eve, that story. All of those things have been conditioning of the mind to make us feel shame and make us feel less than whenever we are not perfect, whenever we are not exactly what our male counterparts say we should be. They don't want to accept that, but it keeps them in a position of power and control, and whereas we don't know our own power. So let go of the fucking embarrassment. It had nothing to do with you that you were molested as a child, and as a result you became promiscuous, and as a result you bore children, and as a result you are struggling as a mother to love your children. The solution is self-forgiveness. Step 2. You have to forgive yourself. And even though you may find that society or even your own children may not forgive you right away, you have to forgive yourself. Many people are dealing with a imbalanced heart chakra because they have not yet forgiven themselves for things that they've done in the past. When you forgive yourself, you change your vibrational encoding, okay? It shifts the frequency from an energy of condemnation and overcompensating and jumping through hoops and putting up with bullshit that you shouldn't be putting up with, to appreciating yourself, appreciating aspects of yourself, being in total awareness of where you stand vibrationally, continuing to work on yourself. And any shithead that comes to you and tries to condemn you for the areas that you know that you're aware of and you're working on, that is a person that you need to get as far away from you as possible, because healing sometimes is a fragile process, and you need supportive people around you, and not people that are going to condemn you and totally try to get you back in a consciousness of shame, grief, and guilt, because those things block you from being able to receive love, from being able to receive abundance, from being able to receive prosperity. You absolutely want to do what's necessary to work to a point of self-forgiveness, self-love, and there are various different techniques that I can share with you. You definitely want to click the link and set yourself up a 30 or 60-minute appointment, or you can go ahead and email me and ask me a question, and I'll help you out as much as possible. As I said, ladies, it is the inner work that is going to change the outer circumstances. So peace, love, and healing. Stay alive and love yourself. Peace.